Okay, so now let's do it through the GUI installer. I had just gone and installed Peppermint OS onto this virtual machine before I'm installing the Manjaro so that you can see the options if you want to kind of dual boot and have multiple operating system installed. So like if you were, let's say coming from Windows, you could do this and hopefully set up it to do, you know, have your Windows partition and then have your Linux partition. Or if you already had like a Linux installed, you could then, do a boot and have your, you know, like I get for this Peppermint OS and Manjaro, or if you just want to nuke it. Yeah, like I was saying, this thing is installing Manjaro Linux 18.1.4. The newest version is 19. So when we do the GUI installer, this thing is going to install this version. And after we complete the install, it's going to have to download probably like 200 something updates. But this is saying 456 updates to get us up to date to the newest version. So I'm going to go ahead and, for American English, that is go correct. I would like the Chicago time zone. That works for me. US default keyboard. That is okay. You can see here, you can choose to install. The installer will shrink the partition to make room for Manjaro, and it will install alongside what's currently there. As you can see, Peppermint 10. Or I can choose to replace it, and I believe that would make it so instead of having Peppermint, it would have Manjaro. Or you can choose just to erase the entire disk and set it up from scratch. So let's go ahead and let's do install alongside. Which, I can click on this and I would like to resize it. Let's do, yeah, I guess about half sounds fine. Next. What is your name? Troyborg. What do you log in as Troyborg? What do I want to call this? Manjaro-VM. What do I want to use for my account password? Yes, I would like to log in manually. What do I want to use for the root admin? I will like a different password. Next. Do I want LibreOffice or FreeOffice? I like LibreOffice. You can see it's gonna resize it, so instead of having that 40 gig partition that I have for Peppermint before, now it's gonna split it up so I have 20 gigs for Peppermint and 20 gigs for Manjaro. If you want to do it, alongside it. So I'm gonna go ahead and say yes, I would like to do this. Install. Now it's resizing the partition. I was just checking something to make sure I had enough free space on my computer to do this, and I do. And like I was saying, if you don't want your old operating system, you just want to go fully to Manjaro, you could just click the erase disk option and it will actually have a little thing that pops up asking if you want to create a swap partition. So instead of using a swap file like I did in the architect, it would actually create a separate partition on your drive to use for your memory swap file. And it also asks you if you want to enable hibernation or not. Like I'm not I don't like hibernation, so I usually always choose create the swap with no hibernation. Like just to show you on my computer, you can see here it has, my, the partition for boot EFI, got my main root partition, and then it's got my swap partition. Looks like it is almost done with the installation. We're at 93%, so hopefully that doesn't take too much longer. There we go, it is all done. I can choose to reboot the computer now. I will do that. Done. And now we should, once it finishes rebooting, yeah, here we go. We get a bootloader, the Manjaro bootloader, or we can choose to boot into Manjaro, or we can choose to boot into Peppermint. So if I go ahead and choose Peppermint, you will see that it should hopefully boot up into Peppermint OS. Maybe. Yep, there it goes. And there we go. Now I am in Peppermint OS. This could be your old Windows install or whatever. Let's reboot. And now this time let's go into Manjaro. And there we go. Now we are booted into Manjaro. And like I said in the install, it installed the older version. So if I do an lsb underscore release dash a, you see that we are running the release version 18.1.4. The newest version is version 19 at the time of this recording. So as you can see, it's already telling us there's 452 updates that we need to install so we can get caught up. So you can install it using the package manager like this and tell it to to apply all the updates. But I'm going to do it through the command line console. So to do this, I'm going to do sudo pacman dash syu, enter. That way it forces it to update the repositories to the newest version. And now it's saying, hey, you're doing something as root. Are you sure you would like to do this for your first time? Yes, I am sure. There's my password. It has to download the new Manjaro keyrings. I will do that. And now it's saying that this will replace that. That is okay. That will replace that. That is okay. Proceed with the install. But yeah, as you can see up here, here was a list of all the files that it is going to download and update. All 493. And you can see down here it's saying, yeah, download 1.1 gigs. Once it is finished installed, it's going to take up about uh, 4 gigs, and because of this upgrade, it will use 104 more megabytes of space. Okay, pay attention to what it just wrote here, because it just downloaded the newest Pac-Man mirror, the newest mirrors for the thing. So it's saying actually you should use Pac-Man-mirror to generate and update my mirror list to make sure we have all the newest things. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick. First, actually, just to show you that LSB-release that I ran earlier, we're in version 9. We're up to version 19 now. As you can see, if I scroll all the way back up to the top of this, apparently it's so long that I can't. But you saw we were on the 18 version. But first, let's go ahead and do sudo pacman dash mirrors space dash dash fast track 7 space and sudo pacman dash syyuu. Enter in my password. Pacman dash mirrors is not found. Oh, because I wrote Pamcan, not Pac-Man. So let's fix that and try again. There we go. It is downloading the mirrors. And now it is querying them to see which ones are the fastest. Let's try that one last time because it didn't decide to find any from the US for some reason. I don't know why it's choosing Netherlands and Thailand as my fastest servers. There we go. Now it found a... Actually, let's go and do... Instead of that, let's go Geo IP for that thing. Which now should just check the US servers. And there we go. That is probably the better way of doing it, is doing it with GeoIP instead of fast tracks. That way it gives me just the servers from my country, not servers from US and Netherlands and Chile and Taiwan and Sweden and Australia and Africa. Because you can see these guys are like 0.5, 0.2, 0.7, 0.3, whereas these were responding as like 0.9, 0.5, 1.3, 1.5, 1.4, 1.7, 1.5, a lot slower than these were. But as you can see, if I do a sudo pacman syu, we are fully up to date. There is no updates available. Now, finally, like I said, I don't like the start menu for this, so I'm going to go ahead and choose an alternative. Hello, choose alternative. Oh, I may have to restart since we installed all those updates. Yeah, it looks like I need to restart because things we had updated so many things. Some things are not working, so let's go ahead and restart. Reboot. Manjaro. Okay, I don't want to see this every time it boots up, so let me turn that off. Now I should be able to right click and say show alternatives. There we go. Now let's choose the application menu. So now it is going to show me this. And finally, when I open up the terminal, I would like to see neofetch. So I'm going to do sudo pacman -sy neofetch. There's my password. Yes, I would like to install it. Now I would like to make it so that I see it every time I open up the console. So I'm going to do a sudo nano tilde for the home directory /.bash/rc. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of this file and add neofetch into there. Control X to close it. Yes, I would like to save it. And so now when I open up the terminal it displays NeoFedge right there at the top for me. And you can see KDE looks like it's using about 511 megabytes just sitting here at the desktop. I'm going to go ahead and reboot into Peppermint. Now, here's Peppermint. Open up its terminal and run NeoFetch. You can see it is using 711 megabytes just sitting here at the desktop. And just to show, of course, with this, if I do a sudo, because this is Ubuntu based, we use apt-get update and then sudo apt-get upgrade. Peppermint is going to have about 148 updates that it needs to install. But just to show you, that's how easy it is for it to do your dual booting. And back to Manjaro. And there you go.